Loyalty didn't just disappear. It was killed, quietly, gradually, until nobody noticed it was gone. Cheating is everywhere. Most people just assume it'll happen eventually. Sure, the official numbers say around 20% of men and 13% of women admit to cheating. But let's be honest, those are just the ones who are willing to tell the truth. Cheating is so common, we've become desensitized to it. It doesn't shock us anymore. It just quietly blends in. We've been told for decades that men are the main culprits, that women are more loyal and cheat less. But then a stat like this comes out.
Right now, though, if you were in a relationship, should you really have a backup plan? There is new research that shows half of all women have a guy on the back burner just in case things go wrong in their current relationship. Physician and national mindful living expert Dr. Romy Mushtaq is here to talk more about that. Dr. Romy, seriously?
Good morning, Tom. I know, and I
Come
feel
on,
like
this sounds positively guy,
doesn't it? And I have to sit here and defend all of us women, but this is the latest psychology research. I was just as shocked reading this data.
This is what commitment looks like today. If half of women in relationships have a backup plan, how many of them have already tested the goods? They're not committing, they're reserving a seat until something better opens up. This isn't just a relationship crisis, this is the death of loyalty. And the real question is, how and why did it die? There was a time where loyalty was the norm. It was a byproduct of limitation, limited access, limited opportunity, and a society that made betrayal risky. Back then, cheating wasn't casual, it was dangerous. You couldn't just send a message behind someone's back. You had to meet in person, sneak around, create alibis. Affairs took planning, lying took effort, and the risk, immense. If you got caught, it could destroy you. It wasn't just a breakup, it was disgrace. People whispered, communities turned cold. Your reputation could be ruined. For women, it could mean public shame. For men, it could mean professional fallout or social exclusions. Families were dragged into it, churches, neighborhoods. Your last name carried the weight. Cheating wasn't just betrayal, it was a scandal. You didn't just disappoint your partner, you embarrassed your name. And that pressure, that social cost, kept most people in check. But the shift began long before smartphones. In the mid-20th century, the rise of the free love movement reframed monogamy as outdated and promiscuity as empowerment. Casual sex became self-expression. Exclusivity became optional. Then birth control became normal, and everyone started chasing independence. Loyalty began to feel more like a restriction than something to value. Being loyal wasn't cool anymore. It was limiting. Then came the digital age. Suddenly, temptation didn't require secrecy. It just required access. You no longer had to leave your house to betray someone. You didn't even need to touch them. All it took was a message, a DM, a plan B. And now, you can lie, cheat, or disappear, and there's no shame. No whispers, no consequences, just swipe, block, and move on. People like to believe cheating is about sex, that it's driven by lust, impulse, or a moment of weakness. And for some it is. When sex is everywhere and the cost of betrayal is nothing, temptation becomes a lifestyle. But more often than people admit, cheating isn't about desire. It's about ego. For men, it's about novelty and control. For women, it's usually about attention and emotional validation. Different triggers, same motive: insecurity. Cheating becomes a way to fill a void, to soothe the parts of you that feel invisible in the relationship, usually because you're running on empty. In a world where people feel disconnected, unseen, and emotionally starved, betrayal starts to feel less like a crime and more like relief. A quick fix for loneliness, a temporary high when the relationship feels flat. They're not intentionally trying to hurt someone, it's just because they're desperate to feel something themselves. Cheating is the ultimate emotional painkiller, especially when people feel there's something missing in their lives. Validation explains one side of why people cheat, but there's another layer most people overlook. Because the brain doesn't reward loyalty, It rewards novelty. Loyalty is steady, safe, predictable, familiar, which also means boring. Not to your values, to your brain. Your brain wants contrast, not consistency. It wants surprises, not stability. It doesn't care about connection, it wants a hit. And in today's world, that hit is everywhere. Every swipe, match, like, or DM delivers a dopamine spike. It's the thrill of being wanted by someone new. And if you spent enough time online, you know where this really shows up. Porn. Porn doesn't just normalize cheating, it glamorizes it. It makes betrayal look thrilling and loyalty look boring. The student fails her exams, so she gives the teacher an offer he can't resist. Or it's the plumber that's coming over to clean some pipes, or the Amazon man coming to deliver a package. And your stepsister? Well, you've been craving that fantasy for a while, haven't you? It's absurd, it's repetitive, and it works. Over time, loyalty fades into the background, and betrayal becomes the behavior your brain rewards. In today's world, we've erased the lines that used to protect relationships. We tell men and women it's fine, normal even, to keep close ties with the opposite sex while in a relationship. Co-workers, gym friends, just friends. People they confide in, joke with, spend time around. Even when those relationships carry the exact emotional energy that used to be reserved for your partner. We call it harmless, but we've created a culture where everyone is a potential exit. Because most cheating doesn't happen with strangers. It happens with people we already know. People we're already emotionally comfortable with. People who have slow, consistent access to us. That's how it happens. Familiarity turns into chemistry. Chemistry turns into opportunity. And opportunity turns into betrayal. In fact, 85% of affairs involve someone the person already knows. Friends, colleagues, or exes. It's not random. It's because of easy access. All it takes is one moment, when your partner isn't giving you the attention you crave and someone else is already there. Someone who knows you, who listens, who makes you feel seen again. It's not a coincidence. Think about it. How do women mentioned in the news clip end up with backup men? It's not random. It's not spontaneous. It's someone they've already let in. We've normalized constant interaction across the sexes without guardrails, without limits, and without acknowledging what that really opens the door to. We call it an open society, but it's made loyalty harder than ever because we remove the boundaries that used to protect it. When betrayal becomes common, people don't just react, they adjust. They're not broken, they're simply protecting themselves in order to survive. Research shows that people who've been cheated on are significantly more likely to be cheated on again, and more likely to cheat themselves in future relationships. Not always out of desire, but out of defense, because once you've been betrayed, trust becomes a liability. So people pull back, they detach, they stop investing fully, and slowly a pattern emerges. A backup person replaces commitment. Hyper-independence replaces vulnerability. Half-in becomes the default setting for love. What starts as a personal wound becomes a feedback loop. You get hurt, you protect yourself. You open less, your partner feels distant. They seek connection elsewhere, and the cycle repeats. This dysfunctional cycle is multiplying across the entire culture. We've created a relational chain reaction where each betrayal lowers the standard for the next. And over time, betrayal doesn't just happen more often, it starts to feel expected. That's how we got here. A culture where loyalty is no longer assumed. It's rare, it's risky, and for some, it feels impossible. Because in a world full of people trying not to get hurt, no one ever fully shows up. Loyalty didn't die because people stopped valuing it. It died because people stopped seeing it as smart. That's the shift. We live in a world that praises options, glorifies detachment, and calls self-protection a strategy. In that world, giving yourself fully to one person feels reckless. Being all in looks naive. Loyalty used to be common sense. Now it feels like a risk with no safety net. a liability in a culture built around Plan B. So people hedge. They keep backups. They leave quietly when it stops feeling perfect, because that's what smart people do. And the ones who stay loyal, they're often the ones who end up hurt the most, because when no one else is playing by the rules, loyalty becomes a losing game. We didn't just stop wanting loyalty, we just stopped believing it works. We learned to survive without it, and then we convinced ourselves we're better off that way. Loyalty is dead, not because we lost our morals, but because we lost our faith in its value. If you found this video insightful, you might like another one on a similar topic. Click on the thumbnail to watch or keep exploring. Also, please comment, like, and subscribe to the channel.